afternoon. I am really happy to be here today with all of you to address this very important issue of climate change. And I think our delegation recognizes that this is a really important issue, one of the most pressing issues of our time. And I'm proud to be the newest member of our delegation that has made this work a responsible strategy to mitigate the damages of carbon emissions in our country and in the world. But I'm particularly happy to be here today to acknowledge my colleague, Congressman Langevin's leadership in the Congress on this issue. He's worked on climate change and been part of a delegation that worked on it long before I arrived in Congress. He obviously understands that climate change is more than just a critical economic and environmental issue, but it's something that we have to respond to, particularly in the context of our national defense. And he's seen firsthand through his work on the Armed Services Committee how damaging climate will be to our efforts to secure greater peace and prosperity around the world, and what impact it will have on our ability to advance American national security interests at places all over the world. And so it was really in that context that Congressman Langevin offered this amendment, which is really extraordinary. This, I think, is one of maybe the only votes since I've been there where Republicans joined in and acknowledged the reality of climate change. And in fact, when, as Congressman Langevin mentioned, when there was an effort to repeal it on the floor, 46 Republicans joined with every single Democrat to defeat that amendment. And that's really a testament to Congressman Langevin's respect within the Congress that many Republican colleagues would support his amendment and oppose repeal. So it's one of those very few examples of really great bipartisan work when an effort was made to strip this language out, that Democrats and Republicans were able to work together. And as I said, a real testament to Congressman Langevin that 46 Republicans joined every single Democrat in that effort. We all recognize, obviously living here in Rhode Island, how important it is that we build resiliency and what an impact climate has on our lives. This amendment will make certain that we begin to really understand the threats to national security from climate change and make sure that we're prepared to meet these challenges moving forward. And climate change is often referred to as a threat multiplier. It takes the kinds of problems that we see today around the world, war, instability, natural disasters, and makes them much worse and more serious. Around the world, we're already watching as this new reality takes shape. Just here in our own country, we witnessed unprecedented hurricanes this season that devastated communities in Florida and Texas, Puerto Rico, and we're seeing how drought and famine exacerbated tension and conflicts in countries like Yemen, Somalia, and South Sudan. These kinds of problems are only going to get worse. They are not going to go away. And that's why it has been very frustrating to see many of our colleagues and the President continue to refuse to acknowledge the fact of climate change and its potential threat, particularly to our national security. That puts our brave men and women in uniform in danger and certainly undermines our ability and responsibility to keep the American people safe. The President pulling out of the Paris Accords was one of the most reckless decisions he has made. This was really our best chance to continue to lead the world in this important work and to help stem the tide of climate change, and the loss of American leadership will be a real blow to this international effort. The good news is that governors like our great Governor, Governor Raimondo, mayors like the mayor of our capital city, the mayor of Ward, many other mayors across America, and lots of other public officials are making it clear that we will not abandon this fight, we will not abandon our leadership. Many of you have been involved as advocates to make sure that that doesn't happen, that we protect our future well-being of our climate, even if the President doesn't intend on being part of that fight. So I want to just say thank you to everyone who has been part of this effort in Rhode Island, but end again with congratulating Congressman Langevin for his good work, and I know we're all going to work hard to make sure it stays in the NDAA after the conference committee, and it's going to make a real difference not only here in Rhode Island, but all across our country.